All right, Khan, Shalom, Shalom, Israel, Shalom to the Torah, Shaz, Yasha, Allah giving the chorus, all honor and praise unto the Most High God, Yahweh. In the name of Omega, God, Sani Yahweh Shah, this is Brother Yasha, Allah coming back, Shah, with yet another video through the Spirit, probably Yahweh, Hashem, Hamashiach, Wamalaki, Yahweh Shah, all right, Shalom, Shalom. So I'm gonna get straight into this, all right, as you can see from the title of this video, you're going into what? Is Satan vexing you, right? Because we know that Satan, all right, he's called the tempter in the scriptures. Well, he has a lot of names. All right, the accuser of our brethren. When you go to Revelation chapter 12, he's called that as well. But Satan, he's known as the tempter. He's there. That's his job to tempt you, to vex your spirit. Right. So I'm gonna kick it off with this precept real quick in the book of Luke. All right, chapter 4. That's his job, man. Right. If Satan is vexing you, then guess what? We got to go to the precepts because let's go to this. Let's go to Luke chapter 4 and verse number right. I want to go to Luke 4 and verse 13. It says, and when the devil had ended all the temptation, he departed from him for a season. So the devil, or aka Satan, all right, Satan, he's going to tempt you. He's going to vex you, obviously, right? We in this truth. Guess what? Satan, he's going to be doing that. But Satan can also vex your spirit as well. I'm gonna get this precept in the book of Acts. Let's go to Acts chapter 5, verse 16. Right? Satan, he can also vex your spirit. And that's something that, if you struggle, right, with Satan vexing your spirit, which we all do struggle with that. If we're being completely honest, Satan can hop on you and can vex your spirit, whether that's making you tired. So now you're in a slothful spirit. Now you was gonna read, but now you don't really necessarily feel like reading. That's vexing your spirit, right? Or you just feel down in the spirit. You don't even know why. You just feel down in the spirit, right? You're not as, up in the spirit. And that's Satan vexing your spirit. Let's go to Acts chapter 5, verse 16. It says what? There came also a multitude out of the cities round about unto Jerusalem, bringing sick folks. So this is during the time of the apostles, of course. And so they're bringing about sick folks, and what? And them that which like it, them which were vexed with unclean spirits. So if you're vexed with unclean spirit, that means that what that unclean spirit or that demon is on you and is vexing you. It may vex you through what? Sickness. And we know that sickness. Let's go to the book of Matthew, right? Let's go to the Matthew 4 and verse 24, right? It says, and his fame, talking about Yahushua, went throughout all Syria, and they brought unto him all sick people that were taken with diverse diseases and torments, and those which were oppressed, like possessed with devils, and those which were lunatic, and those that had the soul palsy, and he healed them. So Yahushua healed by what? Casting out these unclean spirits, casting out these demons. When you're sick and have a disease, yeah, on a physical level, that could be bacteria. It could be something else. It could be your immune system giving out to this foreign substance, right? Now, on a physical level, that could be the case. On a spiritual level, it's what? That spirit or that demon hopping on you, which is vexing your spirit, which is vexing you. Like I said, you can feel tired out of nowhere and you didn't even do nothing. Or you had a good enough sleep. You had 6 to 7 hours. You might have had 8 hours, whatever, and you're still waking up tired. Why is that? It's because Satan is trying to vex your spirit. He's trying to slow you down. You've been diligent this whole week. You've been diligent these certain days. You're on fire on camp. This and the third. You're getting the victory over Satan. And so Satan is going to try to find different ways to take you down. It's it's that simple. One demon, you take down one demon, another demon is going to arise. So he's going to continue and continue and continue to do this. Right? Let's go to the book of Second Corinthians. That's why the Lord says if you overcome this, right? In Second Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 7, this is what Paul says. He says, and least I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations. There was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. So, messenger of Satan, which is what? A demon, right? This demon was sent to Paul because because he was what? On fire. Look, the Lord is not going to send you these spirits and these demons, all right? Or it's like it. Well, the Lord does it, we know that the Lord does all things, right? He does the evil and the good, right? According to the book of Isaiah, chapter 45, verse 7. But nevertheless, Satan, he's not going to send you these demons if he just thinks that you're just easy to get, right? In First Peter chapter 5 and verse 8, we understand that Satan is like that lion, that devouring lion who walks about seeking whom he may devour, man. And so, of course, you go to the physical world, the lion, he's going to go after, that one that's kind of lagging behind. At the same time, though, Satan, he's trying to infiltrate the plan. He's going to try to get you where you're most vulnerable at, and he's going to try to get you like how there's a saying in the world. And Khan, Shalom, Shalom, June, all praise to the Most High. There's a saying in the world to where it basically says what God gives the greatest battles to what? The strongest soldiers. Why? Because the Lord knows that you're able and capable of what? Enduring that, right? That's why. The Lord understands that you're able to endure this situation. So that's why he's giving you this situation. He's giving you this demon, right? He's sending that a particular spirit to see what you're going to do. Hey, let's say the Lord gives you a slothful spirit. Now the Lord's like, look, is he still going to try to remain on fire? Though he's weak in the flesh, is he still going to try to persist on and try to do what he can? Just totally just regarding about what he feels like. Us as men in the Lord, sometimes we just can't be about what we feel like, man. And that's primary in the scriptures. We understand that. Let's go to the book of Hebrews, right? Um, let's go to the book of Hebrews. I want to go to Hebrews 5 and verse number what? 7. Who in the days of his flesh, when he had offered up prayers and supplications with strong crying and tears. So Yahweh Shah, we know that he denied his flesh, right? Let's go to the book of Matthew chapter 16. I want to go to Matthew 16 in verse number 24. It says, Then said Yahweh Shah unto his disciples, If any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. So the Lord said, look, if you're going to come after me, you're going to have to take up your cross, which is everything that you're bearing in this truth, right? It's not a literal cross. It's everything that you're bearing. So, for example, that might be your job. That might be having to go to camp. That might be dealing with your family, or dealing with worldly people, or certain type of demons that you personally are fighting, whether it be lust or lasciviousness. It could be a stealing demon. It could be a demon of getting drunk or getting high, whatever the case may be. So that's the cross that the Lord is saying that you have to put on, that you have to bear in this truth. He said, look, you got to deny yourself and take up your cross and follow Yahweh Shah, because that's what Yahweh Shah did. He did that exact same thing. He denied himself, right? Let's go to the book of, because we even see that Yahweh Shah, he didn't want to get on the cross, all right? He didn't. He was just waiting to get on the cross and to die for the nation of Israel. Okay, because first of all, he understood that Israel, even after his sacrifice, would still disobey. Okay, for one, he did understand that, and for two, on the physical level, um, on the physical level, that's a lot of hurt. That's a lot of pain and affliction. We don't want to be tempted. That's why, according to the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 9 on down, the Lord's prayer literally says that lead us not into temptation. You don't want to be led into temptation. You're not praying to the Lord that He puts you through temptation, right? But we know that it's going to come anyway. It's not like you can't avoid it. It's going to come anyway. But why add to that affliction? If you're already going through temptation, why are you praying for more? If you're struggling to get past the temptation, it's not wise for you to add on more temptation, right? It's not wise. Just deal with that temptation until you get strong enough so that you may be able to bear more, all right? And the Lord's going to seem fit for that, right? But I wanted to get this precept in the book of let me see, Luke chapter 22 and verse 40. It says, And when he was at the place, he said unto them, Pray that ye enter not into temptation. Exactly. So the Lord's like, look, you want to pray that you don't enter into temptation. And he was withdrawn from them about a stone's cast, and kneeled down and prayed, saying, Father, if thou be willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. And there appeared an angel unto him from heaven, strengthening him. So again, Yahweh Shai, he's praying, and right now he's weak. He's weak right now in this verse, right? And he's praying to the Father for strength. So when we're getting vexed by Satan, we also want to do the same thing that Yahweh Shah did, because when you're weak in the flesh, that's just Satan vexing you, right? When you start to, you know, become weak in the flesh, and you might be tired, slothful, uh, and especially when you know it's not for any reason, or you're energized the whole day. As soon as you try to open up the Bible, open up the precepts, now you start yawning, and now you want to go to sleep. All we know, that is Satan right there, man. That's literally Satan, who's trying to make your flesh weak, even though your spirit is willing. Even though the spirit wants to read 10 chapters, the spirit wants to stay up all night. The flesh is not always going to allow that. It says, what? Father, if thou be willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. And why is the Lord praying this to the Lord? Or so like, why is Yahweh Shah praying this to the Father? Why is he praying this to the Most High? He's saying, look, if thou be willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not as my will, but thine be done. Meaning, at the end of the day, okay, Lord, I understand it's not according to what I want, but according to what you want, Lord. But what Yahweh Shah was saying, that then, yeah, guess what? He didn't want to go through the cross. He didn't want to go through that affliction and that pain and that tribulation that was happening before. That was going to happen right before or right after Slakia. And it says what? And there appeared an angel unto him from heaven, strengthening him. So can we see these angels that strengthening us? Because who knows? You praying to the Most High for strength, you might be slothful, you might be weak. You praying to the Most High for strength. We know that, hey, guess what? The Most High, he can do anything. He can do all things. And so he could pray. It's like he can send you that angel, just like how you sent Yahweh Shai. Sent you that angel, and he's going to strengthen you, right? Let's go to the book of Luke chapter 4, because you know that the people that were vexed with spirits, um, we know that uh we know that they got healed at a certain point in time, right? They were healed of that. And so just like how the Lord could heal them before, he can also heal now, right? He can also heal now. This is the book of Matthew chapter 4 and verse number 10. Then saith Yahweh unto him, get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. Right? Meaning you should only serve, in terms of when you go into that word for serve, um it means basically worship in the highest form. All right. Then it says what? Verse 11. Then the devil leaveth him, and behold, angels came and ministered unto him. So angels came and ministered unto Yahweh when he was weak. We see that Matthew chapter 4, verse 11, Luke chapter 22, and verse number 43. The Lord literally sending these angels to Yahweh, strengthening him. So the Lord, he do that to us as well. Are we not the Lord's servants? Right. Let's go to the book of Matthew chapter 10 and verse number 24. The disciple is not above his master, nor the servant above his Lord. So the disciple is not above his master, neither is the servant above his Lord, right? It is enough for the disciple that he be as his master, and the servant as his Lord. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more shall they call them of his household? So, meaning that what? I just want to touch on verse 24, where it talks about how, you know, it, if Yahweh Shah is our master and he has to go through these things, but on the flip side, right? Even though Yahweh Shah had to get crucified, he had to die for his nation. He went through affliction, and his servants will have to go through that as well, because we're no better than our master, right? We're no better than our master, right? And Khan, Shalom, Shalom, all praise to the Most High. Khan, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, right? But even though Yahweh Shai, he went through that pain and that affliction for us, we also have to go through that as well as servants of Christ. Nevertheless, we also have to go through that we have to go through what he went through on a better level as well, on the good thing, on the good terms. When Yahweh Shai was weak, he prayed to the Father. And guess what? What the Father did? What did the Most High do? He sent those angels down there to minister unto him and to help him. So that's why we have to pray to the Father when we're weak. You know, weak in the flesh. We damn getting tempted. We damn thinking about certain thoughts or thinking about certain things that we shouldn't be thinking about. When we're going through that, we should what? Pray to the Father. Because peradventure, perhaps, hey, guess what? The Most High is going to be able to send that angel down there to go ahead and help you and strengthen you, just like how he did with Yahweh, right? I'm gonna go back to um I'm gonna go back to Acts chapter 5. Right. Well, actually, Salaki, I want to go to Ephesians. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 6 and verse number 16. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith Salaki, wherewith you shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. So the Lord said, look, taking the shield of faith and all these things that are things that we should have or should want to have. You want to have your feet shod with the gospel with it's like the preparation of the gospel of peace, and you also want to have that shield of faith, right? That's what we're reading about. It says what that wherewith you shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. So the wicked, which is talking about in this sense, Slacky Satan, right, and his demons. They're sending these spiritual darts at you. They're sending these spiritual arrows at you, and one of them being what? That lust spirit, or being slothful. You're just being tired out of nowhere. You're not wanting to read this precepts. You're walking out of the spirit. You're saying things that you don't necessarily want to say, or that you regret saying. Now, all these things are fiery darts of the wicked. They're fiery darts from Satan, right? So that's why we have to take up that shield of faith. It says what? And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the spirit, which is the word of the Most High. Of course, when we're being tempted, of course, when we're being vexed in the spirit, we want to grab our sword, grab that helmet, grab that shield, right? Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the spirit. And that's something that we have as a tool, as an advantage that people in the world don't have. People in the world, they try to pray. The Lord said in the book of John, chapter 9, verse 31, that we know that God heareth not sinners. But if any man do the will of the Father which is in heaven, right? Him doeth his will. Salaki. Let me just get it real quick. That's right. I'm kind of misquoting it. So Salaki. Let's go to John chapter 9, verse 31. Right? It says, now we know that God heareth not sinners, but if any man be a worshiper of God and doeth his will, him he heareth. So if you be a worshiper of the Most High, remember, a worshiper of the Most High in truth and in spirit, you know, people that's in the Catholic Church, not true worshipers of the Most High. In fact, they don't even worship the Most High. They worship Mary and uh Sanctuary Borgia. They're not even worshiping the Most High. So how you can't be a true worshiper of God if you don't even worship God. You worship somebody else, right? But if any man be a worshiper of God and doeth his will, him he heareth. And we know what his will is. To do his will, meaning to keep his commandments. According to the book of Psalms, chapter 40 and verse 7. It says that Psalms 40 and 8. It says, I delight to do thy will, O God. Yea, thy law is within my heart. So doing the laws and commandments of the Most High, that's evidently doing the will of the Most High. So we know that the Most High doesn't hear the prayers of sinners, man. All right, let's go to the book of Proverbs chapter 29, verse I think I want Proverbs 29. Actually, like, yeah, I want Proverbs 20, yeah, 28. No, it's lucky. It says, he that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be an abomination. So if you turn away your ear from hearing the law, that means that your prayer is going to be counted as an abomination. We see that a lot of people do that. A lot of our people, they turn away their ear from hearing the law, right? They turn away their ear from trying to hear these commandments. And so, therefore, when they're praying, it's abomination unto the Most High, right? Because he's not trying to hear it. If you're not trying to hear the Most High, why is he trying to hear you? That's how the Lord works, right? Um, uh, I'm gonna get uh well, I had a precept in mind, but it kind of escaped me right now. Yeah, kind of, it's all good. All right, kind of lucky. So I want to go back to that, right? I want to go back to that. So we see that the Most High, right? We see that the Most High um gave us prayer as a weapon against Satan, and it's our connection with the Most High. So that's why it's important to pray. It's important to pray when we're down. It's important to cast that burden onto the Most High God when we're down, because that's that weapon that one of the weapons of the Most is. Yeah, He gave us the precepts. He gave us the word of the Most High, so that with this we're able to fight against the Lord. It's like you fight against Satan. It's like you through the Spirit of the Most High, through the Spirit of the Lord. He gave us these precepts, and we have to use them to our advantage. You know, a lot of times, our minds might start wandering, and we will be set on a certain goal. We'll be set on something, like we're not never going to do this sin again. We're just whatever, and we're set on a certain thing. But in order this, because this is our motivation right here, the precepts, right? I want to get this real quick, right? Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 119, and verse number I think 19, right? Classic. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 119, and verse 9. It says, "Wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto according to thy word. With my whole heart have I sought thee. Oh, let me not wander from thy commandments. Thy word have I hid in mine heart, that I might not sin against thee." So that's why we have to keep referring back to these precepts, referring back to these precepts. A lot of times, we might read a precept and then we just like, we don't read it until like 2 months after. But that precept was very, very vital for your situation. You know what I'm saying? So we have to continue to read that. Let's say there's a brother, he's struggling with lust, you know what I'm saying? Then there's particular precepts that, he should be going over, you know what I'm saying, every so often, maybe every day, maybe every other day, because these precepts is what's going to keep him going, right? It's going to keep him going along with prayer, of course. But it's what's going to keep you going, because let's go to the book of Isaiah. Let's go to the book of Isaiah. There's two things that's going to keep us going in this wicked world, man. Because remember, if you have a car and it doesn't have any gas in it, it's not going to go. And so we're like that in the spiritual level. Our gas is like that, is our faith. Our gas is our faith. In order for us to keep going, in order for us to get that gas into the car and for it to keep going throughout the car, and with the wheels and with the engine, et cetera, what we had to keep praying, and we had to keep meditating into these precepts. Because when you go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 40, and verse number what? Let's go to verse 28. It says, "Hast thou not known? Hast thou not heard that the everlasting God, Yahweh, the creator of the ends of the earth, thinketh not, neither is weary. There is no searching of his understanding." So, of course, the Most High God, he doesn't get weary, he doesn't get faint. It says what? He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might, he increases strength. So those that don't have any might, those that don't have any strength, he increases it. He sends you it. Because guess what? The Most High, there's no end to his strength. There's no end to his understanding. Therefore, he gives you understanding. There's no end to his strength. Therefore, he gives you strength. Right? It says what? Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. On the spiritual level, we see that happening. Right? We see that happening. On a spiritual level, we see our young men, our young Salakia, the youths and our young men in the world, they're falling. They're falling because guess what? They don't believe in the Most High. They don't have the Most High as their refuge. They don't believe. They don't confess the name of Yahweh, right? But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. You see that? So the Lord said, if you wait upon the Lord, you're going to renew your strength. You're going to mount upon wings as eagles. You're going to run and be not weary, and you're going to walk and not faint. How are you running but you're not weary? How are you running but you just keep going? you don't even feel like slowing down. It's because this man that's doing that on a spiritual level, he's continuing to pray. He's always in prayer. Hey, guess what? He's always in the precepts. And that's what keeps him going. He doesn't stop, right? He doesn't stop, catch his breath because he doesn't get tired because he's always drawing from that source, which is this Bible, right? If we're dealing with lust, if we're dealing with, keeping our eyes single, then we have to keep reading that precept to keep reminding us, you know what I'm saying? To keep us going. Because if not, then guess what? Our mind is going to go astray. You know what I'm saying? And the flesh is going to do what it wants. So if I'm dealing with, let's say a smoking demon, then I got to keep reading these precepts, Genesis chapter 1, 1 Corinthians 3 and verse 16 on down, and keep praying to the Most High continually so that I can keep going in terms of of maintaining that endurance, right? It's the same way. It's the same way. You know what I'm saying? Keep doing that. And the Lord said, look, you're going to run and not be weary. So you're going to be running in this truth, meaning what? Running that spiritual race in the book of First Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 24. It will tell you that, right? Running that spiritual race, right? I'm gonna get that precept real quick, Salaki. Right. We'll get that precept. And then actually, I'm going to go to Hebrews first. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 12 and verse number 1. It says, wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which does so easily beset us, and let us run with patience onto the race that is set before us. So, guess what? The Lord's like, look, we see that we have to keep running this race. It says, what? Let us lay aside every weight and the sin which does so easily beset us, and let us run with patience onto the race that is set before us. The Lord said, run it with patience, right? Because we might want to get to the finish line as soon as possible. If if you used to run in the world or whatever, if you're a runner, you understand that that finish line, when you're running, especially when you're racing, especially, you all you want to do is just stop, right? That's all you want to do. You just want to stop because it's going to hurt everywhere. It's going to hurt in your legs. Not going to be able to feel your legs. You can't breathe. You can't see nothing. All right, because you could barely hear anything either because you're just on that last stretch, and all you care about is just getting there and just finishing the race. I'll tell you that last 100 just feels like 100 meters, let's say. That last 100 meters of an 800, the last 100 meters of a 1600, especially, feels like damn 2 years, man. I'm exaggerating as a hyperbole, but what I'm saying is, you know, when you're getting towards that finish line, sometimes that's the hardest part, right? The hardest part wasn't the first 100. The hardest part wasn't the second lap, right? The hardest part is always when it draws near. And that also shows you on a spiritual level what time we're living in. If these times are the most hardest times, that means that we're drawing to the near. We're drawing near. If you're having thoughts about, man, quitting or stopping, that's when you have to pick it up. That's because that's how you know that we're towards the end of this thing. We're towards the end of this world, right? In this race that we're racing right now. You know what I'm saying? So that shows you that through the Spirit. And says what? Verse 2, looking on to Yahweh Shah, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of the Most High. So Yahweh Shah, he endured the cross and despised the shame. He didn't care about the shame that came with it, right? It says what? And is set down at the right hand of the throne of the Most High. It says, what? For consider him that endured such contradiction of sinners against himself, lest ye be weary and faint in your minds. So the Lord's like, look, you want to remind yourself of what Yahweh Shah went through, lest ye be weary and faint in your minds. The Lord already knew that you're going to be weary sometimes, man. And that's normal. Let's say you're diligent every day, you're going to have these off days. Just the other day, I was, tired, woke up tired, didn't know why. It was Satan, of course, tired the whole day. And, you're just going to have these days. to where you're not going to be able to read as much as you want or study as much as you want, or you know, you're trying to be diligent, but the flesh keep retracting back. You're not going to have the best days all the time. And we also even see that in the world too. You know what I'm saying? When you're at practice, I know that several times in track practice, cross country, whatever, that's what I used to do. Every day wasn't a good day. There's days I didn't even want to go to practice, bro. Didn't even want to go. But guess what? You went. You know what I'm saying? I still went though, through the spirit. Why? Because it's just what you got to do. Practice is at this time, 3:40 every day, right? Monday through Friday. Got to go, right? You got to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's no, you got to do it for the team. You got to do it for, you know what I'm saying, yourself. You say you want to beat this time. You say you want to get PR. You say you want to do this. So you got to actually put in those actions. So the same thing with with this truth, man. You know what I'm saying? We say we want the kingdom. We say we love the Most High. So that's why it's like, look, sometimes we can't even judge. You know what I'm saying? Or we can't determine how our day is going to be just because of how we feel. You know what I'm saying? We do this work. We we um we start slacking. We try to remain diligent every day, right? Regardless of how we feel. If I'm feeling good doing it, all praise to the Most High. If I feel like shit is doing it, still all praise to the Most. I'm still doing it. You know what I'm saying? And that's where what matters at the end of the day is that we're still doing it. We're still giving the Lord these sacrifices. Let's go to the book of Malachi because that's something that the priest had a problem with, man. You know, um, let's go to the book of Malachi, chapter, um, well, let me see here, right? Basically, when you go to the book of Malachi, our people, especially our priests, man. Let's go to I'll go to Malachi 2:2. It says, "If you will not hear, if you will not lay it to heart to give glory to my name, said the Lord of hosts, I will send a curse upon you, and will curse your blessings. Yeah, I have cursed them already because you did not lay it to heart. Behold, I will corrupt your seed and spread dung upon your faces, even the dung of your solemn feasts, and one shall take away you with it." And when you go to chapter 1, it will also talk about how the priests were sacrificing these things. They were sacrificing the blind, they were sacrificing the lame onto the Most High, which is just lazy. So the priests, they were getting lazy, and they started to not care, right? Now, of course, you're gonna have those lazy days to where it's like, damn, you got a slothful spirit on you. You know what I'm saying? Your body doesn't want to work as much. Your body doesn't want to read. Your body doesn't want to pray as much. And your body's gonna tell you just take the day off or just chillax or just chill, whatever. And the Lord said, look, the hand of the diligent is gonna bear rule. All right. Let's go to the book of Proverbs chapter 12, verse 24. It says, "The hand of the diligent shall bear rule." So, meaning that what? If we're remaining diligent, and diligent meaning what? In all conditions, whether you're feeling tired or not, you're still diligent. It says, what? "The hand of the diligent shall bear rule, but the slothful shall be under tribute." So, the slothful, he's still going to remain under tribute. He's still going to remain under captivity. Why? Because he's being slothful. He doesn't care, right? He's lazy. He's taking all these days off. you know, let's say he was feeling good one day, now he's on fire. And that was a month ago. The whole month he's just lazy, this and the third. The Lord said, look, the slothful, he's gonna be under tribute. He's still gonna remain in this captivity because he's not actually trying to put forth the effort of being diligent. You know what I'm saying? And whatever job that you might have, you know what I'm saying? And when the Lord also talks about, look, Romans chapter 12, verse 11, you don't want to be what? Uh, um, Fervent in spirit, right? Salakia. Let me get it real quick. All right, so it's a good precept. All right, it's a good precept when you go to Romans chapter 12 and verse number 1. It's like 11. I want. says not slothful in business. When the Lord said not slothful in business, you're not just talking about you know, you're not just talking about the business of the Most High, right? You're not just talking about the Father's business. When you go to the book of Luke, chapter 2, verse 49 or no. He's talking about whatever business that you have. Might be in your job, like your actual, workplace, whatever. The Lord said, don't be slothful in that, you know. And the Lord said, look, you have your what our Father's business. Don't be slothful in that either, right? We have what? Let's say you have a office or a job to do in terms of maybe you're in a camp and your job is to edit videos. Your job is to scribe. Your job is to descend whatever your job might be. Guess what? The Lord's like, look, you want to not be slothful in it, right? You want to what? Be fervent in it and just do your best. You know what I'm saying? Just do your best and even more if you have it, right? And that's how we better our nation because you have a lot of our people, it's like a lot of other nations. Guess what? The Moabites, they work hard. The Ammonites, they work hard too. In fact, the Ammonites are known as one of the most hardest working nations because they'll literally work themselves to death. There's accounts of that. Ammonites, who are the Japanese, literally working themselves to death because they're doing it for what? Their family, their nation, right? So that's how much they're working. They're working to death. And they're doing it for vanity, all right? You understand? They're doing it for their nation. So how much more us, right? Now working ourselves to death, but you get the point, right? You get the point. We're doing it not just for ourselves, we're doing it for the most high, we're doing it for our people, man. you know and that's how we're going to better our nation is by putting this effort in, right? Putting in that effort, right? Putting in all that we have, man. You know what I'm saying? When I scribe through the spirit, I try to put in all that I can. You know what I'm saying? I try to put in all that I can because I'm trying to show to the most high that guess what? I'm serious about this thing, and I'm trying to give you all that I got, right? Let's say you got let's say you have a car and you want that car. If you're pressing on the gas, you want it to go faster. If you're pressing on the gas more and you're trying to see, you see what it got, you don't want the car to just stop in terms of its speed. Let's say it can go all the way. It says it has the capacity of going top speed 180 miles per hour, and you're pressing on the gas and it's going what 90, 100, 110, 120, and it just stops at 120, but you know that it has the capacity of going 180. You're going to be mad because you're like, look, I want to go to 180, right? Why is it not going? And you're trying to press on the gas, it just stops at 120. That's how the Most High kind of, in terms of, that's how you can kind of look at it. The Most High is trying to see what you got, and you just stopping at random numbers. You just stopping. You're not using your full potential. You know, why don't you use your full potential, man? Did not the Lord say that's the first commandment? That's the greatest commandment is loving the Lord, Yahweh Shah, with all your whole soul, heart, and mind. And you know that is hard to do sometimes, but like I said, this whole video through the Spirit, Satan is going to come vex. What are we going to do? We're going to continue to fight it, and we're going to try to put in our effort, man. Put in all that we got, man, into this thing. Like how they say, leave it all on the table. In fact, here's the antidote. Um, when I was running track and cross country, they will always tell us to what? Put it all on the table. When we had hard days, I remember I had a coach. He would say, look, just put it all on the table. Give it all you got, because after this, you're just going home, right? This is the last one, or this is practice. You understand? And after this, it may be hurting right now, but just give it all you got, because after this, you're going to be going home. You're going to eat, and it's going to be all good. And so at the time, in the moment, in the heat of the moment, when you been running around the track and you tired as heck, you're cramping all up here, you're cramping in your legs. You understand? It might be cold, it might be hot outside or whatever, and you're just suffering, you're just dying. And all you want to do is just stop it, but you still have X amount of sets to go. And so they always say, look, just leave it all on the table. Because at that point, you're literally you're trying to be better. If you're holding back, you don't want to be better, right? So if you're going to put it all on the table, then put it all on the table. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what the Most High wants us to do as well through the Spirit, right? Put it all on the table and don't waste your potential that you have, right? Why don't you do that video, right? Why don't you try to write up that breakdown? Why don't you watch that extra video or read that extra chapter or meditate in that extra verse? You know what I'm saying? And just giving it all you got, through the Spirit. So with that, all praise to Yahweh Shem, Hamashiach, one more like Yahweh Shah. Right. The water for tuning in, man. This brother Yasha Allah, Kwam Yasha Allah. Shalom.